Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Chandan Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
How are you doing?
Doing good, Prabhuji. Thank you. How are you?
Doing okay?
Yes, Prabhuji.
I'm doing fine also. Almost the same.
Sorry?
I'm saying I'm still the same.
I was talking to Devas Prabhuji just now, and I said I have to join our weekly call. So he said, okay, nowadays I'm not joining, but I have already in another group it seems in Bangalore. So he's busy serving there, it seems.
Yeah, he told me in Bangalore. Well, the purpose is that the devotees somewhere or other get connected.
Yeah, that's right.
How is he doing otherwise overall?
He's doing good. He'll be coming here in March for a business trip to Indiana. And he said that he'll be coming to my home. He'll meet me here, like that he just said.
Oh, that's very nice.
Yeah, Mataji also may come, Sweta Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Srinivas Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Shweta Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Padma Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Hare Krishna Mataji.
Prabhuji,
Mataji, yes.
last week we went to Vrindavan, Prabhuji.
Last week?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Wow, that's
Last
amazing.
whole week we were there. We reminded you at Radhakund.
Radhakund?
Yes,
Oh.
Prabhuji.
Thank you for
she's
remembering
saying
me there.
we recollected your words and we did not take bath. We just
We sprinkled water.
Yeah, three. Yeah,
And we
Hmm.
dip our feet, Prabhuji. Chanting.
Well, it is described if you put 3 drops of water on your head, that's equivalent to a bath.
Okay.
Yes. But just by seeing Radhakund, just by being in that vicinity, is highly purifying, Prabhuji and Mataji. That's amazing. So, where all did you go in Vrindavan?
Radha Damodar Temple, Radha Govind Devji Temple, Ter Kadam, Agni Divan, and Giri Govardhan short parikrama we did, Prabhuji.
You mean Ter Kadam in Nandagaon or
Yes, Prabhuji.
Imlital? Oh, you went to Nandagaon also.
Yes, Prabhuji. Nandagaon, Ladli Mandir, Radha Rani, and Janmasthal, Krishna Janmasthal.
Oh, you went to Lal Ladli Mandir in Barsana.
Yes, Prabhuji, Radha Rani. This is very beautiful, Prabhuji, Radha Rani.
and we attended Mangalati in Krishna Vallam temple for
Yeah, that's the highlight.
Yes, Prabhuji, very nice.
Enlivening.
Very, yeah. We
Vibhavari
missed that
Shesha.
darshan now.
Yeah, it's there they sing Mangalarti Vibhavari Shesha.
Yes, Prabhuji. It will
It's very
always
nice.
roll on our mind.
So you went to Nandagaon, you went to Barsana. So did you go to Nandagaon Mandir on the top of the hill?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
You went to Vrindakund?
And Chaurasi temple also.
In Chaurasi Khamba?
Yes, Prabhuji.
So you went to Gokul Mahavan also?
Gokul Mahavan.
I don't think Mahavan, Prabhuji. It's as you said, it's on the top of the Nanda Hall, some palace.
Nanda
Nanda
Bhavan, yes.
Baba Palace.
So,
Only
okay.
those.
Okay. Because there is one there, one Chaurasi Khamba is there in Gokul Mahavan also. So they are the palaces of Nanda Baba. So Nanda Baba used to live in Gokul and then he would live in Nandagaon. So one is there, one is here.
Yes, Prabhuji. After roaming all these places, still only this Krishna Balram temple only we are.
Yeah, that is our Prabhupada's home. That's why I said Krishna Balam Mandir, said Mangalate. I said, oh, that's the highlight. Yeah. I had the similar experience. Yet at the same time, it is very nice to absorb the vibrations of all these places. And then gradually you will see something you will like. Either you may like Nandagaon, or you may like Barsana, or you may like Govardhan. So it's good to let everything go into our mind. Let us hear everything, and then gradually they may, what do we say? They open up. The places may open up to you.
Yeah. Also, a lot of positive energy, Prabhuji. Like there is no negative element, no quarrel. Even rickshaw people used to say if somebody is stuck, Radhe Radhe, like that, they used to shout. I mean,
Yes.
even to express negativity, also they will say Radhe Radhe.
Yeah. Well, it's a holy dham. It's a place of Lord Krishna, Srimati Radharani. It's very nice. Whenever somebody go to Vrindavan, it's very pleasing to hear. Soumya Mataji, Amol Prabhu, Deepika Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Deepika Mataji, I received your email. I will reply soon.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji.
Tushar Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hope you are doing well.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, maybe we'll start in a few seconds. Anyone has any question before we begin? Okay, so we can begin now. Sometime the internet is little low on this side, but if you feel my voice is breaking, then I can turn off the video. That may help. Om Agyantamidandhasya Dhyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajata Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Deva Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Evacha Patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Sarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukham karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yatkripa tamaham bande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. All right, so 4 kinds of neophyte devotees. We saw this is something from Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna explains 4 kinds of people approach me: those who are looking for wealth, who are distressed, who are inquisitive, and who are wise. And then we saw that they all 4 are considered in the beginners stage, neophyte devotees, because we saw the definition of neophyte, madhyama, and uttamadhikari. And we saw neophyte, their faith is feeble. And then we saw madhyamadhikari, their faith is very strong. Although they may not have complete understanding of scriptures, their faith is very strong. So people who are in wealth, distress, inquisitive, wise, they don't even perfectly know that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is said that among various kinds of devotees, the devotee who is most dear to Krishna is the one who is free from material desires. And that's why if you see wealth, there's a material desire, distress, material desire, inquisitive also, there is a desire. But knowledge, the person in knowledge, inquisitive, they have material desires, but they are eager to know about Krishna also. But those who are wise, those who are searching for knowledge, they do not have material desires. Yet at the same time, they have not practiced pure devotional service yet, but they don't have material desires. And that's why it is described that Krishna says that among all 4, the one who is wise or who does not have material desire and who is searching after Krishna to worship him, he is the best among all kind of neophyte devotees. And although we may begin our Krishna consciousness, but at some point of time, material desires will weaken our devotional service. And today we will hear something about material desires also. And we see Krishna himself says that those who are wise, Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samatma Suddulabha. He says, Bahunam Janmana Mante Jnana Mama Prapadyate Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samatma Suddulabha. A great soul, Mahatma, is very rare. Who Gyatva Mam, who knows me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Who is wise and who has this knowledge, and who is not, and who is free from material desire. That person is very rare, Sudurlabha. Okay. Now, what is the qualification for pure devotional service? And we saw that the qualification for devotional service is simple. We may have material desires and we can still begin our devotional service. We may start chanting, we may start meeting, we may start associating with devotees, but still we may cultivate material desires in a hidden way. So to begin devotional service, nothing is needed, only some mercy and agyat sukriti. And gradually it comes and one gets the faith, and then one may start. But the qualification to begin pure devotional service is different. Pure devotional service cannot happen until we are free from material desires. Rupa Goswami himself describes pure devotional service means something that is done only for the pleasure of Krishna. Generally, that does not happen. It takes a very long time to come to that stage. And the reason being, we have many anarthas. We have greed, because of which we are never satisfied and we want more and more. Lust is there. Lust is subtle. Lust is also, we have desire for some position, some post, some influence, some control. These are external these are subtle manifestation of lust. Anger is there. So naturally, pure devotional service goes a little bit away from us. Rupa Goswami describes pure devotional service as Anya Bilashitam Shunyam. One does not have any other desire, any ulterior motive behind devotional service. When we are doing something only for the pleasure of Krishna, only for the pleasure of Krishna. And this service and our life is an opportunity, so we can train our consciousness that can I do it only for the pleasure of Krishna? Can I chant?
Rohano.
Yeah. So can I chant only for the pleasure of Krishna? Can I chant, and while chanting, can I say, my dear Lord Krishna, what can I do for you? My dear Lord Krishna, how can I serve you? My dear Lord Krishna, I want to develop a relationship with you. And when that can be the only motive, great. Likewise, when we are cooking, if we can say, my dear Lord Krishna, I want to cook something for you. It's very simple, yet at the same time, it requires purity. Because our natural tendency, by default tendency, will be the mind and senses will pull us in different directions. And they are the repository of many material desires. So pure devotional service, but at the same time, pure devotional service only satisfying to the heart. Mixed devotional service, there is a mixed satisfaction. We want complete satisfaction, but that can only happen through the medium of pure devotional service. So what is the qualification of pure devotional service? To begin devotional service, only qualification is attraction. And we saw that attraction comes by agyat sukriti. You render some devotional service and devotional service becomes attractive. You render more devotional service, more attractive. You render devotional service for a long time, you develop taste. Taste will naturally come by rendering service. So through agyat sukriti, there may be some attraction and you can begin devotional service. But to practice pure devotional service, one must become renounced, free from all desires except to please Krishna, free from all material desire. Renounce does not mean renounce order of life and wearing a saffron cloth, but renounce means using whatever facilities are required for the sake of duty and investing our interest, investing our goal in solely in service of Guru and Krishna. If we want anything other than Krishna and his service, Krishna will easily give us that, but he won't give himself. If we ask some now, it is described, the holy name is also like a desire fulfilling tree. Anything you, any desire you have while chanting, Krishna will fulfill it, generally speaking. Like Gaur Gopal Prabhu, he was giving an example that he was chanting and he was having this desire that I want to eat this gajak, peanut chikki, peanut and jaggery mix. And he was missing it for a long time. He did not eat it. So while chanting, he was feeling a taste of it and he was like, oh, I'm missing that chikki so much nowadays. And then he saw that after a few days, somebody brought a whole bag of chikki for all the brahmacharis in the ashram. And Gaur Gopal Prabhu he was sharing that I was feeling ashamed that why did I desire this chikki while chanting? And he was mentioning that this chanting is since it is Chintamani, Nama Chintamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha, any desire you have, Krishna will fulfill. So here it is said, if we want anything other than Krishna and his service, Krishna will easily give us. But he won't give himself. But actually capturing Krishna in our heart, that is a great achievement. If we can, our progress in Krishna consciousness is based on how Krishna revealed to us within our heart. He will not reside in our heart, or he will not reveal to himself within our heart unless he so desires. And also, when we maintain material desires, we cannot chant properly because it's an offense to the holy name. The 10th offense is to maintain material desires even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. And fulfilling material desires or doing activities which are not conducive to our Krishna consciousness is like watering our fire of bhakti. That is not very conducive. So there are two kinds of unwanted desires. Unwanted desire take us away from pure devotional service, and one is bhakti and one is mukti. These are two kinds of unwanted desires. Now, first we'll discuss about mukti. What is mukti? Mukti means liberation. So why is liberation an unwanted desire? So first we'll discuss that, and then we'll discuss about bhakti also. Bhakti means as gratification. Mukti, freedom from suffering. Undesirable because we are in the centers. You ask somebody, why do you want liberation? Because so much suffering. I don't want to stay in this world because so much suffering. That's a path of Gyanis. Yesterday, I was hearing from Uddhav Gita. Lord Krishna mentions to Uddhav that, oh Uddhav, those who are extreme in renunciation and highly frustrated with this material world, they should take the path of Gyan. The goal of Gyanis is, goal of Gyanis or those who do mental speculation, their goal is liberation. Why they want liberation? I am suffering. They don't want liberation because I love Krishna so much and I'm feeling separation from Krishna and I want to join with Krishna and I want to serve Krishna. That's not why they want to escape material world. They want to escape material world because it's a miserable place. And that is a selfish motive also, because I want to escape for my own purpose. The principle behind liberation is still I am the enjoyer. And if I cannot enjoy in this material world, then better let me become liberated and enjoy there. So all these Gyanis, Mayavadis, they still maintain the principle of I am the enjoyer. So that's why it's considered a material desire. Then becoming one with God is another kind of mukti, undesirable because again we are in the center. Becoming one with God, people, like, we were having a small discussion with 4 or 5 people on Bhagavad Gita, and one person said, yeah, Prabhuji, I want to become God because we are all gods, right? So I became like little strong with him. I said, no, Prabhu, we are not gods. We are part and parcel of God. So give me a minute. So we are discussing about mukti, liberation. So one liberation is, I want liberation because I'm suffering, but it is again I-centered. Then for some people, liberation means I want to enter into God or they want to become God. So Prabhupada would say, people want to become managers, then they want to become general managers, then they want to become maybe vice president, then they want to become president, they want to become CEO. And the people are having so many material desires that they want to grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. And then the last snare of Maya, or the highest form of envy towards Krishna, or the highest form of material desire is, well, I'm growing, growing, growing. I'm not happy becoming a CEO of this company. So let me become the CEO of the whole existence. Let me become God. And that is also material energy. That is Maya's last name, is the highest form of Maya. I want to become God. Highly unconducive. Then another kind of mukti is freedom from material desires and reactions. Like the example of Ajamil, and it is described. I think last week we were discussing, maybe in this discussion, or no, it was a Hindi discussion. So this example of Ajamil, where he chanted the name of Narayana. And when he chanted Narayana, he performed many sinful activities in his life. But because he chanted the name of Narayana, he was free from material desires. He was free from the reactions. Yamdutas came to punish him, but Vishnutas told him that he is sinless, so you cannot punish him. Ajamil could not go back home, back to Godhead, um, because he did not have love for Krishna. He could not go back, but his sinful reactions were removed. So that's a kind of liberation also. Freedom from material desires and reactions. Ajamil, because of association of Vishnu Dutas, immediately after he saw Vishnu Dutas and chanted name of Narayan, he could give up his attachment to that low-born prostitute. He could give that up. And he went to Himalayas, not Himalayas, he went to um, uh, Haridwar, and he chanted name of Narayan for 12 years, and he went back home, back to Godhead. So that is good. Desire from anarthas is good. Freedom from anarthas is good. And then there is want to serve the Lord, independent of externals, keeping Krishna in the center. This is good. So mukti can be impersonal and mukti can be personal. These are all mukti. Like in one case, so sometimes we hate the word mukti, but it is not necessary to hate the word mukti. There is an interaction between Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya quotes a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, which is Brahmaji's prayer, Tathe nukampam sumikshamana Bhunjano evatma kritam vipakam Yadvagvapurvir viradam namaste Jive tayo mukti pade sadaya bhag. So there, this is prayer by Lord Brahma, who says, if somebody sees one suffering as a resultant of one's own past karma, and he patiently tolerates, and his consciousness is with his heart, body, and words and mind, he surrenders onto me, he takes shelter of me, or he takes my shelter. But he patiently tolerates all the suffering that comes upon him as his own karma. For him, liberation is his birthright. So last verse, last line says, Jiveta yo mukti pade sadaya bhag. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya tells Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that there is some mistake in Bhagavatam. Then he says it should be Jiveta yo mukti, Jiveta yo bhakti pade sadaya bhag. That for that person, bhakti is a birthright or devotional service. We don't want liberation. We want pure devotional service, bhakti. So Mahaprabhu says, or love of God, basically. We want love of God. We don't want impersonal liberation. So Mahaprabhu says scriptures are perfect. Mukti can be of, there are 5 kinds of muktis. One is Sarupya, Sayujya. Is it there in our list? No, it's not there. Okay. So there is Sarupya, having the same form of the Lord, Samipya, same opulence as the Lord, then Saloka, having the same planet as the Lord, then Sayujya, which is impersonal liberation. There is one more, having the same form, having the same opulence, living on the Lord's planet. Anyways, so okay, so one of them is condemned, which is impersonal liberation. The reason behind impersonal liberation is I am suffering. The pleasure of the Lord is not in the center. I just want to go out of it. That is not all desirable. Then Mahaprabhu taught us, even living in the same planet as the Lord or having the same form as the Lord, Mahaprabhu says those are favorable, but the followers of Lord Chaitanya does not even desire that. Any of the 5 kind of liberation they reject. This is a prayer by Kapila Muni to Mother Devahuti, that although common people are aspiring after one of the 5 kinds of liberation, pure devotees of the Lord, they reject them also, and they just want to become my servant. Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Mama Janmani Janmanishware Bhavatad Bhakti Rahito Kitwai. Birth after birth, I want to become your servant. Or they only want love of God. So love of God comes beyond this 5 kind of liberation. If you ask a pure devotee, do you want to go back to Godhead or do you want love of Krishna? So the higher is I want love of Krishna. That is desirable. Going back to order, it's up to Krishna. Or having the same form as the Lord, same opulence as the Lord, it's up to Krishna. Because there is a possibility that I want the same opulence as the Lord, because here I'm not so opulent, and getting a beautiful form and having such opulence like the Lord there will be very nice. So let me have that. So even the material desire may trigger liberation, although it's material. So the highest is love of God. But they all come under the word mukti. That's why they are called 5 kinds of liberation. So mukti is not the bad word, but the context in which it is used, which is impersonal liberation, which is I am frustrated, so I want to go out. That is a material desire because I'm in the center there. Liberation from bodily concept thus substantially deepens one's realization that goal of life is to please Krishna and not bodily urges. Now, naturally, those who are engaged in material sense gratification cannot take up Krishna consciousness very seriously. We see that it's like oil and water; they don't mix with each other. We see in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, "Bhoga Aishwarya prasakta nam." He says those who are attached to Bhoga and Aishwarya, opulence and Bhog, sense gratification. And Krishna says, uh, resolute determination for devotional service does not appear in them, because their determination goes in sense gratification. Like I know one person, he joined Krishna house. He said, I want to sincerely practice for regulatory principles. I want to learn chanting. I want to develop spiritually. And then, we were like innocent people. So we were like, yeah, Prabhu, come over. We were very excited that Prabhu, and I told him, Prabhu, no need to pay anything. You get food here, you get room here. You just do some service and practice Krishna consciousness. Try to become a very nice devotee of Lord Krishna. He's a Western person. So he was very sincerely following. And then after 1.5 months, he got a job. And then I said, that's okay. No worries. You go to the job, attend the morning program, come in the evening, attend Bhakti Shastri, and do some service in the evening. Saturday, Sunday, do more devotional service. Job is not a obstacle to Krishna consciousness. And then just 10 days job, and he got a salary on Friday. And he got a salary, and he went out, and he got drunk. He said, I got a salary, I wanted to enjoy, so I got drunk. So I said, okay, no, this is not acceptable. So what happens? Devotional service, doing devotional service because there is nothing else to do. So let me try this. This is not a good option. But rather one has to be resolute in practicing devotional service. Otherwise, if we cultivate material desires, if we allow ourselves to do wrong things, to do sinful things, to do things not favorable for Krishna consciousness, we will see that we'll become weak. And if we come into the habit of doing sinful activities repeatedly, then over a period of time, um, we may not face good consequences. So I know one person actually, since I'm dealing with a lot of Americans, they have their own natures and desires. So one of them was kind of taking weeds regularly. It's kind of an intoxication, you smoke. So he would go out and he would take weed and come back. I would not know. But he said he's following regulatory principles. He's coming for the morning program. He's chanting. So I was very happy with it. Very nice. Then I came to know. I asked him, so how many times have you taken weeds in past 1 month? He said over 20 times. I said, ooh, over 20 times. So what are you doing with your life? So naturally, if now somehow, what happens is sometimes it is said that if we do something wrong, the first person who comes to know is we come to know. If we continue to doing something wrong, then Guru comes to know. How Guru comes to know? Krishna is sitting in the heart of Guru. We cannot hide anything from Guru. Guru comes to know. Guru get a feeling. Kuch to gadbad hai. Something is going wrong. And if we continue um, still, then the whole world comes to know. So I was telling this person, see, you were hiding so much, and you were thinking that nothing will happen. But see, you got exposed, and in a very, the circumstances happened in such a way that his best friend disclosed. How this word works now, how Krishna works, is Krishna will reveal. We cannot get around something and do something wrong and we think that nothing will happen. No. Eventually Krishna will reveal. That's why we have to take responsibility of our own actions. We cannot hide anything from Krishna. We cannot hide anything from Guru. And since they are watching, they will expose us if we are not very careful. 1-2 times, if we do something wrong and we are very lamenting, and then we work on ourselves, Krishna said that's all right. But if that becomes a habit, then Krishna says, no, this is too much now. I have given you enough concession. Now you have to bear the consequences of your activities. Krishna is very kind, but that is also Krishna's mercy. If he gives us bigger punishment, because otherwise, how will we get out of our unwanted tendencies within our heart? Um, uh, so that is why sincere practice of devotional service without ulterior habits, ulterior motives, with the purpose to serve Guru and Krishna, then we will go long way. So this is something we discuss about mukti. We discuss different kinds of mukti. We discuss higher than mukti, all the 5 kind of muktis, love of God. Then we discussed mukti also includes freedom from sinful reactions. Like for example, when we get initiated, Guru take all of our sinful reactions. Guru takes that. So that is also a mukti, freedom from sinful reactions. So those all things are very much desirable. But mukti, because I am suffering, so I need to get out, so I can be happy, I can be peaceful. When I am only in the center and it's not Lord's pleasure, that's an obstruction to our Krishna consciousness, and that we don't want. Then renunciation, liberation, and devotional service. Okay, so something more. In fact, Rupa Goswami makes it very clear that bhakti and mukti. Bhakti is again desire for sense gratification, and mukti is impersonal liberation. He compares them to 2 witches who haunt like a ghost. So that's why this picture remains here, because bhakti and mukti are compared to witches. Now, if you have seen some horror movies where there is a witch and she kinds of haunt the person who, haunt a person, and I don't know if you've seen ghostly movies, then sometimes this bhoot, which matlab bhootani, some ghost, he enters the person, and if somebody comes and interact, it's the ghost who starts speaking. The ghost takes over the body, and the family members of the same person, he sometimes harms the body of the person in which he is haunting. So ghost does many kind of things. So likewise, these desires are like that. This desire of especially, I mean, for many of us, we may not desire impersonal liberation, but the desire for sense gratification is very strong. It haunts us. I want to enjoy. Um, I want fame. I want power or prestige. Um, um, I, I. Um, this is a haunting. This haunting is very unfortunate that we are being haunted. And to realize that we are being haunted by material desires is a very good realization, because if we haven't realized that yet, we will realize it soon, because it's a fact. Um, and there are multiple layers of material desires. The first layer naturally is more gross: lust, anger, envy, greed, pride, illusion. Then the second layer is name and fame. sorry, that is the third layer. The second layer is there is deceit. Deceit means we have a cheating mind. We show ourselves as different from who we are. That is also protecting the false ego, because we don't want the fame to go away. And we will see that the underlying principle behind um, deceit and behind many actions we do is fame. This fame is like very deeply rooted. Raghunath Das Goswami says, lust, anger, envy, greed, pride, everything will go away. Desire for fame will remain. Deceit will go away. Still, desire for fame will remain. And it's a material desire, and it permeates fully. It actually haunt like a ghost. Whether we are in spiritual circle or we are in material circle, this desire is there. I want to become the center of attraction. I want this one has to consciously work on. And that's why devotional service becomes difficult, and the determination of devotional service is weak, and we are not able to find a satisfaction in devotional service because we are unable to make it pure. Why? Because we are constantly being haunted by these desires. Any devotional service we do, um, we want to be noticed, we want to be valued, we want to be whatever, glorified. Um, and in the word of duality, when we are not glorified, when we are not valued, when we become miserable. When we are successful in attracting people, we become very happy, and when everybody condemns us or anybody condemns us, we become very depressed. So this is all because we are haunted by these desires. Gross desire, relatively we can work on them relatively quickly, but the subtle desires, they haunt till a very, very long time. Even one may develop very deep taste in the holy name, still so many material desires still remain. And that's why holy name does not reveal. Many times we say, why I'm not able to chant the holy name, I'm not committing any offense. Well, we are not committing Vaishnava aparadh necessarily. But what about the 10th offense? Is to maintain material attachments even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. We have heard a lot, and it also needs Krishna's mercy to um, see how over empowering is these material desires. When Krishna says something, Bhoga Aishwarya Prasaktanam, when he says those who are attached to opulence and um, um, sense gratification, gross or subtle, a resolute determination for na vidiyate does not take place within them. And holy name is, as we were discussing in the morning with some other group of devotees, that holy name is like in the form of a seed. Within that seed, everything is there. The entire spiritual world exists within the seed. But the holy name is not revealing to us because of the Vaishnava aparadh. Sorry, not Vaishnava aparadh, because of the Nam aparadh. Vaishnava aparadh is the first of the Nam aparadh, but there are 10 Nam aparadhs. Um, so I don't know how much you can feel it, but it really haunts us. And it becomes more and more difficult to see them within us also, because they are very, very subtle. Um, the more we practice Krishna consciousness, the more we see, oh, how deep rooted are the impurities. And little more, and then we see, oh, they are actually way more deep rooted than I thought of. Little more you progress and you feel like actually it is impossible to come out of this. And then you see how they are constantly haunting like a ghost. Haunting means there is no space. Um, one devotee I was sharing about, Prabhu, there are these material desires which are very deep rooted. And I was explaining to him different actions, how they are manifested, this material desire. And he said, oh, now finally I came to realize that this desire is not just there, but it is all pervading. It is persistent in every action I do. So that how much deep rooted they are, just the more subtle we become, the more we see the hand of subtle material desires. So Rupa Goswami says this is the qualification of pure devotional service means. He just says we have to be free from bhukti and mukti. Many of us may not want mukti, means bhukti has to be there, otherwise tomorrow we would have been practicing pure devotional service. He says these are the two things um, that 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 hinders or makes our devotional service mixed. A haunted person is not free to act, rather he is forced to fulfill the desires of ghost. Likewise, we are not free to act. We are forced to fulfill the desire of the contaminated consciousness, just fully permeating with subtle and gross desires. The ghost of bhakti and mukti forces one to spend all their energy in their pursuit. And when this witch of bhakti is kind of all pervading, all encompassing, it becomes, I mean, we put one it forced ones to spend all their energy in this pursuit. So we unconsciously put so much energy to fulfill those material desires. But then it will be great if by the mercy of Krishna you can see even subtler material desires and start saying no. But then there is a saying, problem known is half solved. So that Krishna's mercy is that Krishna reveals our heart to us. That's why the books like Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam and what we are reading and the holy name of the Lord, they act as mirrors. Mirrors means we can see ourselves more inside. So problem known is half solved. If you know the problem, then you will start working on it. But if you think I do not have any problem, what will you work on? Then we will think that everything is good and I am a pure devotee. But no, that's a syndrome. Syndrome means it's not truth. Great devotees call it pure devotee syndrome. It seems like everyone is becoming a pure devotee, but then gradually, Krishna's mercy that he reveals to us our own heart and give us an opportunity to get rid of it, to take shelter, to consciously choose Krishna over other subtle desires. And it's a practice. That's why it's a practice. We are trying to train ourselves to eventually at one day practice pure devotional service by Krishna's mercy. But then Krishna also says, I reciprocate as we approach. So if we don't desire, Krishna will not remove it. So first phase of Krishna's mercy is he exposes us to ourselves and we become disgusted. Oh, this is who I am. Jugupsatam. Jugupsatam means abominable. I am abominable. And then once that realization comes, then we start consciously acting on it. And then when Krishna sees, oh, he's trying, she is trying so hard, he's trying so hard, let me help them. Then Krishna can only remove it. As long as one has these desires, one cannot relish or develop taste in his bhajan. Obviously, because when every act of Krishna consciousness is polluted by the desire for janasya mohoyam ahamamiti, means I and mine, what's in it for me. When the act of devotional service are contaminated by the enjoyership mentality, then naturally I am trying to be the enjoyer through the practice of my devotional service and not Krishna. How many activities in Krishna consciousness do we do purely for the pleasure of Krishna? That's a sign of how much we are doing it for ourselves. And only when Krishna is pleased will we become pleased and satisfied in our practices. And that's a training. Then what to manage the material, let's see how to manage that desire for sense gratification. Or do we want to manage the desires for sense gratification? So first stage is acceptance. Acceptance, as I said, Krishna reciprocate according to our desire. Until I desire not to desire, even Krishna cannot help. So first is Krishna has to reveal to us. We have to come to the point of acceptance. It is also a sign of false pride that we may think, I am completely free and I am completely pure. We don't see great saints thinking themselves in this way. Bhakti Vinod Thakur says, "Amara jivan sada pape rata nahi ko punya lesha." My life is full of sins. He says, "Amara jivan sada pape rata." I am constantly doing sins. Sin is actions done not with the mood to please Krishna. Becomes a sin also. Nahi to punya lesha. And I don't even have little bit of goodness in him. Even a lace or even a spark of goodness cannot be found in me. So this is a consciousness of Prabhupada. He says, I have no good quality. It is just the mercy of my Guru Maharaj. My Guru Maharaj is doing everything. Otherwise, I am completely useless. Prabhupada will think like that. He says in his prayer to Lord Krishna, I am completely worthless. Worthless means I am not capable of doing anything. And then my Guru Maharaj has sent me this mission to make the whole world Krishna conscious, and my worth is zero. If somebody thinks my worth is a lot, then that's an illusion also, because there's a doership mentality. Because one has more faith in one's skills than dependence on Krishna. So one fails right there if one thinks I'm worth a lot. And Krishna also says I am the ability of man. So Krishna can do anything through us if we take shelter of Krishna in all circumstances, or if we learn to depend on Krishna. When we think that I am worthless, then there is a need to depend on Krishna. If we think that I am good now, why to depend on Krishna? Why? Because I am depending on my abilities. Like I have myself experienced that sometime I will make presentations for discussions, and I would think, oh, I have made such a nice presentation. Now I can really do a very nice job in giving a class. And those are the most miserable discussions I ever led. Why? Because then I was depending on my skills. I was depending on what I can do. Then if we depend on our skills, then where is dependence on Krishna? Kunti Maharani says these are great obstacles. She said, Janmaishwarya Shruti Shrivir Edamana Madapuman. And she says all these high things, knowledge, birth, beauty, opulence, they are simply obstructions. Because when one becomes self-absorbed with one's own thing, why depend on Krishna? I'm a good manager. I can manage very nicely. Then why do I depend on Krishna? Because I can manage. I'm good at this. I can do this very nicely. Why do I depend on Krishna? So my spiritual master says that, I don't have any, I only have dependence on Krishna. Teaching by his own example that what is something that we want to develop. Our material work and Krishna conscious work, they work differently. Material work is based on skill set. Krishna conscious work is only based on Krishna's mercy and dependence on Krishna. Krishna promotes those who depend upon him, not those who are good at something, but those who, because Krishna consciousness is a spiritual principle. It does not work on a material platform. So, and the first stage is acceptance. Acceptance means acceptance. It requires amanitva. Amanitva means humbleness. When we are humble, then we will see and then we will realize, actually, I am very worthless. And we will think like I'm disgusted with myself. And this is who really I am. And this is not something fake. It's because Krishna revealed to us how worthless we are. That is also Krishna's mercy. And then we like, now Krishna, you help me. I cannot do this. I cannot do this nicely. I'm completely useless to do this or that. What do? I wish I can just leave everything, and because I'm not able to serve in this capacity, Krishna, please help in this capacity. And now this is Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness means we are worthless and Krishna's mercy will make things work. Um, so first, now come talking about material desire, first stage is acceptance. This is my shortcomings. I'm struggling with this, fill in the blanks. And then once we identify that, then we pray to Krishna, Krishna, please help me. This is too difficult. And then being conscious of a material desires, also Krishna's mercy, because Krishna says, uh, um, Krishna says, remembrance, forgetfulness, matta smriti jnanam apohanam cha. Matta, from me comes smriti, um, memory or knowledge or remembrance and forgetfulness comes from Krishna. So um, um, Krishna only can remind us, see, you are acting on material desire. That remembrance also has to come from Krishna. If Krishna covers, we cannot see it. We'll just act on it. And that's what we were before we came to Krishna consciousness. We were not conscious of our consciousness. We were never conscious of ourselves. We were just unconsciously doing things as it is the right thing. One benediction of Krishna consciousness is you see your actions, you judge your own actions, and then you act with the Krishna conscious principle. That memory, remembrance also comes from Krishna. And previously, if you have forgotten, that forgetfulness also comes from Krishna. So first there is acceptance. And then there is don't associate with circumstances that triggers our contemplation. Second is don't associate with the risky circumstances or circumstances where um, circumstances where our anarthas get triggered. Run away, run away, so that don't feed the desires. Don't feed them. Because if we are going to feed them, they are only going to howl more and more strong. And um, um, the urge is there, whether it is gross or subtle, um, like fame we were discussing. The urge is there. So we should run away from those circumstances because one thing is there. Um, if we get what we want, we'll become proud also in certain cases. Um, and then if the consciousness becomes proudful, then we make mistake and we fall down also. So everything is very tottering in this material world to practice Krishna consciousness. So one has to be very careful. Uh, and then vacuum attracts anarthas. This is another thing. Avyatha kalatvam, pack your day with Krishna conscious engagement and duties. This is one thing, is vacuum attract anarthas. We should not have free space. That's why it is recommended in the beginning, especially brahmachari life, it is recommended in the beginning, brahmachari should stay together. Because if somebody stays in one's own room, then their mind may trouble them. And mind is like, Ati Balwan. Arjuna says, I can control the wind, but I cannot control the mind. And Arjuna is the most powerful Yodha. And if Arjuna does not feel himself capable to take care of his mind, how can we become confident about our mind? And Srimad Bhagavatam says, never put faith in your mind. And Srimad Bhagavatam says one has to be very vigilant with one's mind, just like a captured lion. When a lion is captured, the hunter is very careful because if he's not careful, the lion will eat him up. Likewise, if we're not careful with the mind will subdue us, our determination, and make us do wrong things. Um, so vacuum is not good. In our ashram also, like Alaganta Prabhu is my superior. He's spiritual master in ISKCON, and he's guiding us with this project. And he was sharing with me that nobody should be there without supervision, because as long as there is no supervision, what people are doing, they will naturally get into the tendencies of past previous bad habits. And that's why he asked me that no, I have to stay the whole time, and he told me don't travel as much as possible, or if you travel, take everybody with you, but everybody has to be under supervision, otherwise the mind will take us back to our old habits. There is a saying, old habits die hard. It's very difficult to get rid of old habits, because we have been feeding them, like my spiritual master says, we are feeding them for so many years in this life, and I don't know, so many lifetimes. It's not easy to get out of it, because mind will immediately go there, because it's a stage of unattenability. Anarthas are there, mind is again and again haunting and desiring and wanting. Um, so keeping ourselves busy in Krishna consciousness helps. So these desires, Rupa Goswami very expertly says, one has to be very careful, especially desires for bhukti and mukti. They haunt us. They are all pervading. They are behind everything we do. And then we discuss in little bit more detail on what steps we can take. There is another saying, don't test your abilities, because Maya is very powerful. Sometimes I feel like, I'm good, nothing will happen to me, and I'm strong. And then don't trust yourself, because Maya can pull our triggers within no time. We should not trust her. We should not trust our mind. Because one devotee asked Prabhupada, how can I control my mind? Prabhupada said, it's a good joke. He said, mind is Krishna's energy, Prabhu. You cannot control the mind. Krishna is beyond you. Krishna's energy is all powerful, and we are insignificant. We cannot control Krishna's energy. Krishna can control. Krishna says in 7th chapter Bhagavad Gita, mind, intelligence, false ego is my separated energy. It's Krishna's energy, all powerful. But if Krishna can tame our mind. We force the mind. Srila Prabhupada says, we force the mind to remember Krishna, to remember the holy name, to serve Krishna, and then Krishna takes care of us. Sincere prayers while chanting to free oneself from this haunted ghost can help, definitely will help. If we take shelter of Krishna, Krishna, please help me, Krishna will help. Okay, I guess much more can be said. The subject matter is vast. Let's see if there are any discussions. What do great devotees desire? I don't know how many slides are more there in this chapter. Oh, there are 26 slides. So it's a little bit longer. So let's see if there are any discussion. Any devotees would like to ask anything, discuss anything.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. One small doubt, Prabhuji.
Yes,
Prabhuji, on the second like the second point, don't associate with circumstances that trigger our contemplation. So you told, like, if we get what we want, then we might back off from doing the devotional service, no, Prabhuji. Can you stress a little more on that point, Prabhuji?
Well, what I'm trying to say is don't expose yourself to the environment where we may not maintain our consciousness of a humble servant, where we may lose our humbleness, or where we may engage in sinful activities or overindulging. The examples can vary, but the idea is the environment, if we cannot handle, if we are weak, then let's not expose ourselves to an environment. Simple example is, like in Detroit temple, I share this because it's very, everybody can understand. And there was very nice prasadam they would serve in a temple. And sometime when I would go out, I would stay upstairs in Detroit temple. And when I would go out to the car for whatever services I had, I would go by the prasadam table and I see like there are 15 items. Then I'm like, let me taste this. Let me try this. Let me try this. And then I realized that this is my weakness, my mental weakness, that and there is an urge and I cannot tolerate. So then I started going from the other door, which is a little bit the other side. So I don't have to expose my eyes to the prasad, because I mean, it is not unconducive, but then it's overindulgence. So because I saw that it is not favorable for me. Or it can be like environment where if I do something, then I'll be glorified. Okay, let me not do those things where I'll be glorified, because it will take my humility away, which is anyways not there. And if I expose myself, then it's simply a disturbance to my consciousness. Rather, let me remain in a humble consciousness, which is pleasing to Krishna. And then you change the environment. But the idea is, if our evil comes out, gross or subtle, in a particular environment, don't expose yourself and don't think that we are strong enough that we can handle it, or I can maintain my conscience in this situation. Did I address, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Anything else? Any devotees have anything else? Okay. So if you all agree, then maybe we can end here. And thank you all for joining. If I spoke anything wrong, please forgive me. Panchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you very much. Prabhuji, Mataji, Hare Krishna, Dhanva Pranam.